This is the Beats and Balls Show. That guy Ken. JR, the Beatmaker. Mr. Crisp.
Ballers assemble. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Beats and Balls Show, Season 2, Episode 9. It's the first show of 2020, so Happy New Year, and I hope it's all going well for you. My name...
I was going to say Happy New Year. I just wanted to just drop it in there. Keep it. Go on.
My name is JR. This is the Beats and Balls Show, the alternative sports entertainment podcast that's passionate about the culture and the sports that we love. I am, of course, joined by my regular co-host, that guy Ken, and the man who keeps it all together, Mr. Crisp. How's it going, guys? Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Happy Chinese New Year. Happy Chinese New Year, and say the appropriate things in Chinese.
Exactly. I think it's the year of the rat, so how do you do that one? Happy... Squeak. New Year.
Happy Chinese New Year. Just leave it there.
Exactly.
I had a Chinese for dinner last night.
So did I. What did you have? I had a Singapore fried noodles. What did you have?
I had a pork curry and just like the classic. Like,
can you look into the curry Chinese? You can't do curry Chinese.
I don't think Singapore's in China either. So
okay, true. Happy New Year. Happy new decade.
Yes.
That's true.
Yes. So speaking of that, how have you all been? You all started off 2020 on a good note? 2020's
been a banger, you know. Well, like I was saying to you earlier, 2020 has been je ne sais quoi. Yeah, it's been bouncing, man. It started with good energy.
Yeah. Good energy. And there's another decade, and that's the thing with him, is like, wow.
Yeah.
A decade went past. You realise it was like, oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but it seems like it's done now.
It's done.
Now we start now we're into like, how do we make this next decade the one? Like the noughties happen. Okay, the last 10 years happened. What do they call the last 10 years? The teenies?
I always called them the teenies. I don't know if it was a thing. But I was just
write in and tell us whether was it called the teenies or?
I think I tried to coin the teenies like just before the decade started, and it never caught on. I was like, okay, yeah.
But it's been the year's been started off really, really nicely, and I think everyone's got on that vibe. My hashtag this year is gonna be keep that same energy. You know,
what makes you say that?
You know when you kind of have, even though it's been the start of the year, it's like you get to it and it's like all the anticipation finally gets to it, and there's so much energy and things happening. But January always seems like so many people want to start doing things. Like when you're in the gym and there's everybody on the equipment that you want to use, and you're like, seriously, come on, like I'll give you 6 weeks and then you're going to be back on the couch. Come on, get out of the way.
You're in here for the long goal.
Exactly. You're not in it for the long goal.
You know, I've been that guy so many times.
Those January guys in the gym. You know what I mean?
Because the thing is, like, we start off with so much hope. It's like, I'm gonna carry this on. I'm gonna get buff, man. No one's gonna be able to touch me. And then like a few weeks in, it's like, I've got other things to do. You know, like,
that couch becomes so appealing.
So good.
With the remote in your hand and your bag of crisps.
Don't even get me started, boy.
Start rewatching Love Island.
We're gonna get onto that. We're gonna get onto that
later.
No, I'm just gonna put it in there. I've actually been watching a little bit.
Oh my.
Like against my will, I've been watching it. I was roped into it, and I've been only last night and a little bit of the night before. And I'll be honest, I still don't get it, man. I don't get it.
You're not supposed to get it. It's addictive watching. I'm trying not to get into it, but even...
Hey, let's go on the show and we come back to Love Island.
Yeah. Let's do it.
Hold the Love Island talk.
Sorry.
Let's roll.
It's too exciting, man.
Let's go. Okay, cool.
Yeah, Ken, can you tell the people what's coming up on today's show?
Yeah, so obviously, we're talking about the new year, the new decade. But one of the things that we're also going to be doing is we've got some new improvements, obviously, and with that theme, we're going to be discussing VAR. Video assistant referee, for those who don't know, and whether it's improving elite football from the fans' point of view. So we'll be talking about that. Then we're also going to touch on Afro Nation, which took place in Ghana over Christmas, and of course our regular show bits. We've got socials, which we're going to touch into a little bit more, and Baller of the Week. Yeah.
Good, man. Good. So, before all of that, I think it's time to jump into the socials. This is our regular current affairs segment, and it's just based on what has caught our eye on social media recently. I wanted to, because it's been quite a while since we were in the studio, I wanted to just kind of bring up the recent Harry and Meghan situation.
I knew you were going to.
Oh, man.
This is like... You know Piers Morgan, right?
Yeah.
Do you know, like, he just has this polemic about them, and every show is him going against them.
Yep.
And even the point you were like,
Can I tell you why? I don't care whether it's real or not, but I believe it. Apparently, Piers Morgan.
Move on.
Piers, you dirty old man.
Move on.
That's the truth.
I believe it. I'm sorry.
Move on.
I wanted to come in here and deny. Come and deny. Piers, come and sit in front of me and deny that one. I have to rumor and I believe it's true.
Okay.
Move on.
No, so but speaking of Piers,
Don't want to get libelled for that.
I don't care. Let him come.
You don't want to get libelled for that. Move on. Well,
I want to check your WhatsApp
you.
history.
We'll move on.
Go on. Move.
No, so but basically, when we're talking about the coverage that Meghan has received in the media, obviously Piers' initial stance was it's not racist. There's nothing racist against the coverage, and then it got to the point where I was watching this particular interview, and he was worn down to the point where he would say, "Look, the coverage is tinged with racism. That does not mean it's racist." And I looked, and I was like,
was this the show when he spoke to his two guests who were of colour?
Yeah.
There was
the newsreader and the other journalist.
Yeah,
I think so. And there was a weatherman in there.
Yes, yeah. I saw that, and I was like, so she's giving you an example. Then I meant the journalist. I can't remember his name. I can't remember her name. It will come back to me.
Yeah.
She was a woman of colour. So she gave him the example of when she was young and how she felt racism, but she couldn't. It wasn't something you could say. I could put it in a dictionary definition, but I could feel it, and I felt I was treated differently, which he agreed with. Yeah. And he said yes, and that's something which he would never experience in the same way. Yep. But then he said, "Well, I don't believe that. That's." It's like there. That's a nice example of racism, little girl. Like, but
I feel a bit sorry for you.
I feel sorry for you. But what they experience isn't.
Yeah, and the thing is, like, he fails to understand, like, the nuances and the subtleties of racism, particularly in the UK, because it's become so normalised in that it's acceptable if you can work a way that it's not actually, like, completely obvious in the way that Piers wants this evidence. He wants proof. Show me how Meghan has been racially abused. But in this country, it's so much more clever, almost in a way, that you can get away with it, and that's why he doesn't regard it as racism. But isn't that, like, even more sickening to me?
Yeah.
Like
the fact that he doesn't understand it, he doesn't understand the paradigms of racism, and I don't want to touch into that too much because I think it's a level of actually understanding, but also experience and just knowledge of what it has meant over the course of time to where we are now today. Do you understand what I mean? It's not just about, like I said, I'm not going to get into it because I could have a 45-minute conversation about racism and paradigms, but let's not do that. But yeah, look, at the end of the day, Piers Morgan has just got it wrong.
I mean,
I'm going to jump in here. Did anyone see the clip where we had an interview with Lisa Nandy, she's one of the candidates for the new Labour leader?
No, I haven't seen that. No.
So he was interviewing her questions, as he would, and then he brought up Meghan. And do you think that she's been harshly treated? And do you think that the treatment is racism? So I was thinking, you didn't have to ask that question. You've asked all the questions about the lady, about her candidacy for the Labour leadership. Yeah. And then he threw that question in. I'm like, wow.
I told you he's got a thing for her. He's got that. You know, move on.
Thing. Let's move on. And then she clapped back at him and said, almost like, what type of question is that? And then she said, and he went on, and as he usually does, I don't believe it's racism. And she said, because she's of colour herself, and she said, how would you even know?
Yeah.
To him.
To a man
and
that's never
she said, how would you even know what that is? And then he was like, and then he doubled down on it. And then she said to him, because her thing was like, look, the media has been good and bad. It's been a mixed range.
Yeah.
And then he doubled down even harder. And she went back to her and said, like, why are you even doubling down on this? I don't see what you're trying to prove.
The problem was,
and
like I said, he's got a thing.
And then he was like, huh?
No, he's got a very Trump attitude in the sense that if you shout loud enough, they'll stop talking.
Yeah.
And I think that's
the
why.
with him.
And even when it's like what you're saying, a completely unrelated interview, he will try and find a way to just like jam it down anyone's throat that he can.
But she was smart. She just stepped back, listened to the question, and said, I don't see what you're pushing back against. Because I said the media is mixed. It's been at local level, it's good. On a national level, some of it is not as good. What are you trying to prove?
Because with him, that hits a nerve, though, because he's obviously been so responsible for British media in, I don't know how long he's been in the tabloids and that, but the tabloids are generally where all of the toxic stuff goes down.
But his thing is tabloid. Those questions are tabloid.
Yeah.
Those questions about headlines.
Yeah.
Right or wrong.
Yeah.
I'm going to prove it. I'm going to prove you're wrong. It was like, as you said, these things are nuanced.
Yeah, exactly.
He couldn't even understand how it feels to
Why
be.
would he?
And why should he? So what's he trying to prove?
Yeah. Yeah, but like I say, he's never going to get it because he's never actually.
Did he have a go at Stomzy when his views are misconstrued? So what is he trying to prove?
He had a go. He had a go at Stomzy when how Piers Morgan can get into a rap battle on the street, a rap battle, and have an opinion, on two young black guys from London, rivaling, and Piers Morgan has an opinion. I was like, no, dude, seriously, don't. No, it's not. No, you're not about that.
What did he say about that? I kept myself away from that.
Oh, he was just basically.
That Stomzy and Wiley you're talking about.
Yeah, the Stomzy and Wiley. Yeah. We've heard the tracks.
Yeah.
Mr. Cribs, drop some Wiley beats or some Wiley flow right here into the you know what I mean. But yeah, Piers just basically had a little. I think a lot of the media thought they took it from it being a rap battle to it being two young guys actually trying to attack each other because of obviously Wiley made the thing about pulling the wig off, and then obviously Stomzy came back and retaliated and won.
Stomzy destroyed him. That one about his mum, the second one.
Let's not do this. This is a progressive show. There's no insults to mums here.
But but Stomzy, Jesus Christ, my God,
that was unsportsmanlike.
I need to go back and listen to it.
You need to.
I listened to all the interviews he's been doing in America, and I'm like, he's reaching levels.
Yeah.
And I have so much respect for him. He's very articulate, very grounded. He's letting the Americans like, this is why it exists, this is why it doesn't exist.
Yeah.
But I still love Wiley. I respect him.
That's the thing.
I respect him, but I have to take care of business.
Exactly.
Yeah, because I think Wiley's kind of gets above his station a bit. I know he's the godfather of grime. I know this is all his, but respect the next generation coming through, man. There are so many old heads in grime that are helping to push the next generation, and I think Wiley just seems so resistant.
But that's the thing is he.
Don't you think that Wiley wants to get that coin? It's about being relevant, and that's how he's relevant.
Yeah.
He's about to drop an album.
That's what I was about to say. That.
And I said to someone last night, I was out with some friends, and I said, I bet you any money I would say in the next 6 months, you're going to hear that Wiley's going on tour with Stomzy. 100%.
Yeah, most likely.
100%.
It's not that
next
deep.
6
like
months.
even the beef is not that deep. Because you think, like, when you've seen those interviews, or Stormzy is like respecting Wiley so much.
Yeah.
But he says, I need to take care of my business.
Yeah.
And he sees it. It's all business now. It's strategy. And he's reaching levels. Whereas I think I've heard the interviews and the Wiley's done on One Extra, and I've heard I've seen the Twitter beefs, and I'm thinking, really? This is just about having publicity.
Yeah,
this is just publicity.
Yeah, but
any which way you can get it.
Yeah, exactly.
But the thing is, Stormzy's so busy right now. He's doing his own tours and stuff, and he's still like responding to Wiley with these visuals and just absolutely taking him out. And I feel like for Stormzy, it's almost like just like swatted a fly away, or just trying to get rid of that dog that's just like yapping at your leg. But Wiley's just keep coming and coming and coming. But I think Stormzy's just above it, to be honest. It's. Wiley's the antagonist. But then even in one of the interviews, Stormzy even said, like, Wiley's just a natural troll. That's what